I may have already recorded this video, but the unfortunate reality of not being super well versed in technology is sometimes you record an entire video and your audio just doesn't come through at all for the entire video, and there's no way to fix it. So, welcome to the second iteration of the box office preview. This is a series that I want to start doing here on the channel where we take a look at the box office going into the weekend. Now, this is not going to replace the box office recap. That is still a series that I want to do here. After looking at the projections for this coming holiday weekend, I thought this would be an interesting addition and one that I kind of just felt like doing, and I hope to continue it throughout the weeks ahead, I guess I should say. The goal here is to just be a very laid back, hopefully, ideally, one take video, mistakes and all. So bear with me here as I get used to technology. Enough of me rambling. Let's go ahead and dive in here. Unsurprisingly, going into the Labor Day weekend here in the United States, Deadpool and Wolverine is expected to win the weekend with a $12 to $13 million haul here. Now, this movie has topped the box office 4 out of its 5 weekends. The only time it didn't was when another, funny enough, Disney and former Fox property Alien released a new film. When Romulus was released, it dethroned Deadpool at that top spot. But with the momentum that Deadpool has going for it, it is expected to once again take that top spot in its sixth weekend. Another interesting element about this box office weekend, and this comes to you from an article in Variety, is that it is expected to be not only one of the slowest weekends of the summer, but one of the slowest weekends of the year. And while initially that was a shock to me, as I read the projections for the weekend, it became pretty evident that, well, people are choosing to spend their weekend at the lake or outside just hanging out, enjoying the last little bits of summer, as opposed to heading inside to the movie theater. And in the past, we have seen slower weekends like this, but we've also seen pretty active weekends. Just 2 years ago, we had Top Gun Maverick that was still crushing it at the box office going into Labor Day weekend. A few years ago, we also had Shang-Chi, which debuted on this weekend and did pretty well. So, this weekend is hit or miss. We'll talk about this movie a little bit later here, but I think Beetlejuice could have benefited from opening here in this weekend time slot. So, yes, Deadpool and Wolverine is expected to once again reclaim that top spot and continue its streak here at the box office. Continuing on, the first film that I want to talk about that gets released this weekend is the Dennis Quaid Reagan biopic. And while the film carries with it a $25 million budget, I would be very interested to see what the marketing budget of this film is, because the only piece of marketing I have seen is that poster right there. Now, we'll get to this graphic here just a little bit more in a little bit, but that's the only thing I've seen. And I am not actively avoiding a trailer for Reagan or anything like that, but it just hasn't crossed my path. I've been to a lot of movies, and I've seen nothing on this film, so I'd be interested to see what they spent on marketing. An independent studio or independent distributor is releasing this film, so unfortunately this information we probably won't get, but I would just be interested to see how much addition to that $25 million budget was dedicated to marketing. The film this weekend is expected to gross about $5 to $7 million. I think we'll see it fall about in the middle of that range. I think a $6 to $6.5 million weekend is probably realistic here. I don't think we'll see it falling as much as 5 or hitting the upper end of that mark. Another new film coming out this weekend is Sony and Blumhouse's Afraid, another film that I haven't seen anything for. Again, the only piece of marketing I've seen is that poster right there. And I didn't even know about that until about a week ago. So, I think with a much smaller budget than Reagan, about $12 million, this is also expected to hit about that $5 to $7 million mark. Now, this is one that I wouldn't be surprised if we saw go towards the lower end of that what am I saying? That expectation. I think we'll see about $5 to $5.5 million for Afraid, but who knows? I'm always a big advocate for any genre, but horror has a special place in my heart, so I would like to see a little surprise win here for the horror genre as we close out summer and head into fall. The next two films that I want to talk about, and they kind of go hand in hand here, are 1992 and Slingshot. I'm unfamiliar with 1992, but I actually have seen Slingshot, and it is a surprisingly entertaining mid-budget sci-fi film that is anchored and completely sold by its three lead performances, particularly Casey Affleck and Lawrence Fishburne, the latter being extremely menacing and wildly unpredictable. It's a fun time at the theater, and I hope to actually get a review out for that film because I want to talk about it a little bit more here and hopefully get the word out on that one and get people to head out to the theater to check out that film that they might not otherwise go and see. It's a fun time. I highly recommend it. If you haven't heard of it, don't watch the trailer. Just trust me, go out to the theater and watch Slingshot. It's, like I said, a fun time. It's nothing revolutionary, but I found it to be pretty entertaining, and it will definitely leave you contemplating that third act long after the credits roll. Now, another film, actually, I guess I should say real quick before I move on here, both Slingshot and 1992 are expected to make around the $2.5 million mark. And, well, that's not super surprising for either film. One other new film that comes out that I also haven't heard of, it's just a week of these smaller films, and I kind of like that sometimes, is City of Dreams. Now, this is also expected to make about $2.5 million this weekend, but one interesting component to this that I also read in that article previewing the box office from Variety is a million of that expected box office was actually through donated tickets. So the production company, the writer, director, and producer have donated tickets to people who may not be able to afford the ticket cost or organizations to give out tickets for people to go see the film. So it'll be interesting to see come Monday, given that it's a long weekend, what this film actually makes in addition to that $1 million that is already donated towards that film's projected weekend. Now, before I get out of here, I do want to talk real quick about one thing, and I will discuss this more next week in the box office preview and, of course, the recap. But today kicked off the Venice Film Festival, and a certain film premiered, and that is Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. So, this is a film that I've been cautiously optimistic about, and after seeing the reviews today, I gotta say I'm actually pretty excited. I am now looking forward to seeing this film. I'm seeing it next Wednesday at an early screening, and reviews are pretty strong. Now, currently the film is projected to open between $65 and $75 million, and with certain projections estimating closer to $80 million, which would be among the best openings of September of all time. And after reading some reviews and talking to people who are excited for it, I think that an $80 million opening is in the cards. I really do. If the reviews continue to remain this positive and strong, I think we'll see some solid word of mouth here. And given the slower weekend that we're heading into, the lack of major releases over the past few weeks, given that Alien has now had some time to settle in with audiences, I think that we are in for a surprisingly big opening for Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, and I wouldn't be surprised if we even crest $80 million, just a hair, between 81 and 82 million. I wouldn't be completely surprised. So, I am very curious to see how this film does. Going back to this graphic real quick, this is how I think the box office this weekend will shake out. Deadpool and Alien, funny enough, both Disney and former Fox properties, will lead the box office. Afraid if you look at most projections, is actually supposed to top Reagan, but I think we'll see a surprise win here for Reagan in that third spot. And then Sony's Afraid. And rounding out that top 5 is Blake Lively's It Ends With Us. The film has taken some pretty significant drops each weekend, and, well, the controversy surrounding this film, I think, is really hindering it, unfortunately. So I think we'll see that film just edging out in the top 5, although I wouldn't be completely surprised if we see Afraid and It Ends With Us swap places, because, well, despite those drops, It Ends With Us, people are still really going out to the theaters to seeing that film. So I'm very interested to see how the box office this weekend plays out, given the long holiday weekend. I will be postponing my box office recap video until Monday, just so we can get those finalized numbers from the long weekend. But I will be back on Monday to recap the box office and see just how wrong I got this lineup here. Well, I just hit a lot of wrong buttons. But I'd be interested to see how this lineup right here compares to what the weekend actually ends up being. So come back, watch my box office recap, and then I will see you next Wednesday or Thursday. Haven't quite figured out the right day to do this box office preview series quite yet, so mid to late next week is when you can expect another one of these videos. Until then, I hope to post some reviews for upcoming films and just discussions. I want to really dive into something that I mentioned in my intro video, and that is my inspiration and what made me want to become a filmmaker and how that has affected me being visually impaired. I really want to start diving into that and discussing it a little bit more and doing the thing that really motivated me to start this YouTube channel, and that was motivate and inspire those that want to become a filmmaker, or really anything in life. That is something that really lit the fire inside of me to roll the camera again and create this YouTube channel. So I hope to dive into that here pretty soon, but just really getting my bearings here with technology and finding out what it is I really want to do with this channel. So thank you so much for watching this video and sticking around. I can't wait to discuss this weekend's box office with you here on Monday. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.